Axel Rudakubana has been transferred to Belmarsh Secure Hospital. What an absolute travesty and an absolute piss take. He should have been kept inside of HMP Belmarsh Segregation Unit. But do stay tuned, people, because I'm going to be talking a little bit about Broadmoor Hospital and the type of patients and the attacks that have happened in there. Now, as much as we are all outraged, even more so myself, because obviously doing these videos on here and waiting to hear about some prison justice. But what I will probably be fetching you, not prison justice, but hospital justice by the other patients. Now, I'm sure everybody watching this channel now, there is a lot of people watching from around the world, and you might not be familiar with this, but I'm sure everybody is now. But Axel Rudakubana is serving life with a minimum of 52 years after fatally stabbing 3 innocent little angels. Alice De Silva Aguirre, BB King and Elsie Stankham at a Taylor Swift themed dance class in Southport in 2024, and there was a lot of rioting going on after this because of what happened, more so with the way the press handled the case and the government. But what I will do is show the 3 little angels that were taken by that monster. And that monster was transferred to HMP Belmarsh, and he was in the segregation unit. And in May of last year, he attacked the screws. When the prison staff opened his door to let him out for exercise, he had a kettle inside of his pad filled, obviously boiling water, and he's attacked the prison officers. Obviously, he was restrained. The prison officer went to hospital. Luckily for the prison officer, it wasn't severe. So that horrible little rat man was placed on even more restrictions. Obviously, he wasn't allowed anything inside of his pad that he could attack the officers with. And he was on 4 or 6 man unlock, meaning 6 prison staff, normally 4 or 6. Sometimes 5, it depends on the prison, but just say he's on a 5-man unlock. We'll just go for the middle number to make it easier. A 5-man unlock. So 5 screws, take him out of his pad, take him for exercise, take him for his dinner, but he was getting fed in his door like the dog that he is. They were chucking his dinner and tea in, and he was fed inside of there. But he was only allowed half an hour exercise per day, as you do when you're in the block. But when he first went there, they put him down there for his own safety, so he wouldn't be attacked. And then obviously, the only friends he did have down there was the screws. So what did he do? Turned on them, because it shows what type of piece of dirt he actually is, a bit of vermin. So now that he's been transferred to Broadmoor Hospital, he's now become more vulnerable to attack. A lot of people will be thinking, because like I've just said, I did myself, I thought, well, he's going to have it a lot more cushy because he's only 19-year-old as well. He'll be on a wing or house block, but now they're classed as patients, so he will be on a ward. But he will be on a ward with men up to any age, dangerous offenders as well, who are now classed as patients. But just because he's in the hospital, we all think, right, he's going to have a more cushier time when the patients become prisoners to patients. But the staff in them hospitals are brutal as well. So he will be getting worse treatment than what he's getting inside the block down there, because he'll not be getting mistreated off the screws, because obviously they have the duty of care, and because he's so high profile, he'll have defence team who he'll be writing to, and he'll be saying or putting complaints in against the screws, because that's all he'll have to do. And he will have been an absolute nuisance for the justice system. inside of prison, inside of the block. It's costing a fortune to keep him. It'll cost even more inside of a hospital, but he's an absolute nuisance for the screws. They want rid of him. But he has been having high protection, the highest protection down the block, because he's not allowed to mix with any other prisoners. Now that he's in the hospital, he'll be set loose on a ward with absolute lunatics. And these lunatics have some crazy fantasies. That's why they're in there. And one of these inmates will have a fantasy about murdering him, because the inmates still have outside contact. They have phones. Well, they don't have phones, but they have access to phones to ring the family. And the family members will be saying, "Oh, is that Axel in there with you?" Wink, wink. And a lot of these patients are on hospital orders where they're never to be released. So, a little bit of notoriety for them. What will they do? Oh, I'll be the first person that gets a hold of Rudakubana, because inside of there has been a lot of attacks on high-profile inmates, and attacks by high-profile inmates, or attacks like Robert Maudsley when he killed a bacon inside of Broadmoor Hospital, which made him become even more famous. He had 4 under his belt, I believe. He'd done a bacon on the outside. That's why he got his life sentence. He killed a bacon inside of Broadmoor. So what did they do? They sent him to a bacon prison, Wakefield Prison, where he killed another 2 bacons. Robert Maudsley, king of the bacon bashers, or Sir Robert Maudsley on this channel, has killed 4 bacons. Rudakubana is an absolute bacon beast, and there's some high-profile inmates inside of Broadmoor Hospital that will take joy out of bashing that wee bacon all over. So, it might not be too long before we're hearing about some hospital justice on this channel. I know I've spoken about prison justice a lot of times, but I think hospital justice will be another topic on here, because I'm going to keep Broadmoor for another series on here, because there has been some brutal attacks. And I'll just talk a little bit about some of the inmates. Peter Sutcliffe was attacked inside of Broadmoor Hospital, and he lost an eye. So he was one of the high-profile patients, shall we refer to them as, and he was an eye taken out inside of there. And Robert Maudsley, along with another inmate called Cheeseman, I'm sure he was a bacon as well, they took a prisoner, well, a patient, into the pad. They had him in there for 9 hours, brutally torturing him. They couldn't get in to the cell because it barricaded it up, and they tortured him for 9 hours before they eventually ended him. So Rudakubana, as much as everybody is going to be outraged about him getting transferred to Broadmoor Hospital, he has now become the prey. The predators inside of there, lunatics. Hopefully one day the patient, one of the patients might skip their medication and boosh, the schizophrenia comes out, and Rudakubana with his big sideshow bob hair might get his hair grabbed, and they might drag him into a pad and torture him for 9 or 90 hours. So I will keep you updated, but I'm just going to speak about a couple of attacks, because it did, where we at? So some of the high-profile attacks. Peter Sutcliffe, which I mentioned, these are the inmates that were in there. Ian Brady, Kenneth Erskine, the Stockwell Strangler, and Peter Bryan, a cannibalistic serial killer who killed 3 people over a span of 11 years, and he's highly infamous for murdering a fellow patient inside Broadmoor in 2004, just weeks after his admission. But on another note as well, what I do believe might happen, this little wrong'un, because he's attacked screws inside the block, he'll be attacking maybe other patients himself, and maybe the staff, but this is what they will be aware of. And the staff, like I've said, the staff inside these hospitals are big, muscly blokes, and they've got stuff on hand to inject, comatose, and bat these inmates all over with. So Michael Adebowale, one of the Lee Rigby soldier killers, actually attacked the staff in there himself. So he was transferred to Broadmoor from high security prison in 2015 following severe psychiatric deterioration. And what did he do? Attacked one of the nursing staff in there. I was going to say screws, but obviously not screws. They are nursing staff. So he attacked one of them inside of there. And again, what do you think happened afterwards? They would have gotten the beating of their life. It'll not be as secure as as the prisons, as in the cameras all over and body-worn stuff, body-worn cameras. There will be places where the staff will be able to act out their own justice inside of Broadmoor Hospital. So Broadmoor Hospital is based in the village of Crowthorne in Berkshire. It is the oldest of the 3 high-security psychiatric hospitals in England, the other 2 being Ashworth and Rampton. So Ronnie Crea's been in there, obviously Peter Sutcliffe, Ian Ball, Robert Napper, Robert Maudsley, Charles Bronson, David Copeland, David Gonzalez, just to name a few, and Peter Bryan. I'm just going to show you who Peter Bryan is. He's actually still inside of there. Look at that lunatic. He has killed 4 people. And Peter Bryan from London killed 3 people while on release from various mental hospitals. The then 24-year-old first beat up a shop owner's daughter to death after he was fired, which landed him in Rampton Secure Hospital. He convinced staff that he was improving and was released. He killed and dismembered and cooked his friend Brian Cherry. The police found a frying pan with human brains, which Brian described as really nice. And I do believe he might find Axel Rudakubana really nice too. Once detained at Broadmoor, Brian killed fellow patient Richard Loudwell, 59, and planned to eat him. So I do believe that Peter Bryan will find Rudakubana, the 19-year-old fresh meat, very appetizing. So we will see whether or not the likes of Peter Bryan gets a hold of Rudakubana inside the hospital. But I will keep you updated, people. I thought I would come on and let you know and give you my rundown on this and my thoughts. I think it's absolutely outrageous. He should have been kept inside of HMP Belmarsh. He is 19-year-old, life with a minimum of 52 years. Anybody who is that age with that amount of prison, you would be worried if they weren't deteriorating, suffering. You're in the fucking block. You've got 52 years ahead of you. You're 19-year-old. Of course, you're going to be fucked up in the head and deteriorating. And so you should be. You've killed 3 little innocent kids and attempted to murder a whole lot more. Make the bleep suffer and leave them in the block. That's exactly my thoughts. I should have said this at the beginning, but if you are still watching now, this is my thoughts. He should be kept inside a Belmarsh. He should be fed like a dog through the hatch. He's an absolute wrong, and that's the way he should be kept and should be treated. He shouldn't be fucking transferred and kept as a patient inside a Broadmoor and given more luxuries and given medication to make him cope with his sentence. Let the deteriorate inside the block. But I just thought I would come on and give you my rundown, people, and my thoughts. But I will keep you updated because, believe you me, he will be getting some hospital justice at some point. But I'm going to leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. And if you are, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend and your week ahead, people. But most importantly, stay safe.